Judy McDonald writes in. Judy, thank you for spiffing up our female viewers here. Judy says, good morning, guys. Maybe TSN should show more CFL games, keep people's interest going. Maybe have players comment on their perspective of that game. I'd be all for that. They're really only doing it Friday nights, right? And what is it tonight, guys? What's the games tonight? What's the theme?
For us?
Is it Hank tonight?
I think so.
These guys are all busy trying to get Justin Dunk on the air here. Oh, we got to get the Dunkster because he's going to have the goods. There's a lot of different ways to help the CFL at this time. I mentioned earlier in the week Randy Chevrier, the former long snapper of the Stamps, Riders, Dallas Cowboys, wrote me and said, what can we do? Right now, I don't think there's anything that anybody can do other than the people that it's their jobs to do something. But we sit and we wait to see if they get the federal aid. If they don't, you're going to have to hit the ground running with this Save the CFL campaign. And it's going to, frankly, come down to the people that want to save the league with private money, their own money. It'll be up to them to do it. Because one thing we've learned here is that at least half of Canadians, it would seem, don't want federal money to go to the CFL. Rightly or wrongly, that's the way that it is. You know what? That was my point here. Point 3, American federal aid, pros and cons. I think if you drew up a list of pros and cons of giving them money versus not, I'm talking about the league. You throw in American players if you want. The cons list might be longer. That's not to say, because I'm all for the CFL getting the money.
Yeah.
But check off the pros and cons. You get it. You're a businessman.
Yep.
To sit here and predict today, because a lot of people are saying to me, Rod, do you think they're going to get the money? I can't say. I don't know.
I know, and it's not just about, you talk about the pros and cons, then you got to weigh the weight of each one too, and there's so many things to consider when it comes to federal money, but you're absolutely right. There's half the population that doesn't want it. And whether that's right or that's wrong, or they can't see out of their own world, that's where we're at now. And if it doesn't benefit you, and they're giving away money to something that doesn't benefit you, you're going to say something about it and disagree with it and feel that money should go somewhere else. So it's not going to go away anytime soon. It's not going to be an easy decision to spend the money if you're the government. I don't know how this is going to go.
Well, so thank you, Jack in Calgary, who looks at things the same way I do. He's written it and said NFL, CFL partnership. And frankly, I think that's the only way to do it. And why wouldn't you? They're the largest sports entity on the globe. Why wouldn't you not want to partner up with that? And I understand the argument against it. Larry Smith, the Senator, said it last week. The former president of the Alouettes, the former commissioner of the league and first-round pick of the Alouettes. If you sell off to the NFL or even a piece of the NFL, it's going to come with conditions. I think we're at a time where the CFL has zero leverage on something like that.
Well, if I'm the NFL, you got a couple options. Swoop in with $150 million or $200 million or whatever, buy the league. Okay, that's option A. But you could be watching this all play out if you're Roger Goodell and the NFL owners and be like, there's a lot of divide in that country. They might not get the money. So let's just wait. Let's let the fire fizzle out. And then we'll swoop in with NFL Canada and go to Regina and Winnipeg and Toronto and Calgary and Edmonton and so on. And we'll sprout up teams in each of these markets under the NFL Canada umbrella. And that'll be the CFL's 3.0 or 2.0 or whatever you want to call it at that time. And it'll be called NFL Canada. And away you go. TV partnerships throughout the states and everything else. That might be where the NFL's coming from. And they say, well, if the CFL does find a way to survive this and keep going, then that's okay. We're okay with that because the CFL is a nice little ally that we have.
Sean Dahl writes in and says, if the NFL wanted another league, they would have bought in with the AAF or the XFL. I don't believe that. They ponied up, $3 million in 97 to save the CFL back then. Clark's saying, that's what we'll do. Get Dunk ready. We'll take him to the top of the hour. Clark will break and come back with Dunk. Well, a two-segmenter. I don't know if they're having connection issues with Justin or if he's busy, which is probably the thing. But with the NFL Canada idea, you're at a point, or we're very fast getting to a point where it's the staunch purists, and believe me, I love you, I bless you, I'm a purist about a lot of things, but I'm also a realist. You're outnumbered. Okay, there's not enough of you anymore to keep the CFL going as is. There just aren't. So you're going to have to support NFL Canada. It can still, if that's what it is, it can still be the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the BC Lions. It can still be all those things. But the NFL is going to own a very large chunk of it. Shoot, ESPN owns at least 10% of TSN, right? Seems to be working fine for them.
Yep.
Ish, up until this pandemic hit, where they're running all the American programming, which, by the way, I don't think they're going back. Once this lifts, I think we're going to stay with all that American programming, which is another horrible thing for the CFL, because they don't even talk about hockey on ESPN, let alone the CFL. So there's a lot of different ways to look at that. The other thing is, Lynch and I talked about this morning in my car. Wonderful visit we have every Friday morning when I shoot that video that's on my Instagram story and Facebook story. But I said to John, had David Braley just let go of the BC Lions, and I do believe it's because of ego and stubbornness that he has them, but if the Aquilinis had bought him, the Vancouver Canucks owners, the Lions would be safe right now. If the Molson family had bought the Alouettes, because they already own the Canadians, the Owls would be safe right now. I think the Red Blacks financially are okay because they're corporately owned, and we know the Argos are fine because they're under the MLSE umbrella. So now you're getting down to Bob Young and the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and I just don't think Bob's ready to walk away, but I would hate to see the amount of money Bob Young has lost to the Hamilton Tiger Cats in his time. Darren, tens of millions of dollars. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So corporate ownership is as much as I'm against it for a few reasons. For instance, they have that in Calgary, they have that in Ottawa, as I said, and they have that in Toronto. I mean, you don't think these guys are my friends that work in those, and they kind of get pushed around, they get bullied, because from the upstairs guys, it's, oh, you don't like this? Where are you going to go? Where in town are you going to go? You're not going to cross the street and go work for the hockey team. You're not going to cross the street, and you're not going to quit and go work for the football team. You have to do what we say. And I don't like that. That's what's going on in some of these huge sports conglomerates.
Yeah.
But they're not in danger of folding.
They're not. Clark, can we ask him to put up the comment from Colin in Ottawa about the 3-down game and losing it? I wanted to ask, this is kind of with the NFL coming in, this one. The history of the 3-down game goes down the toilet, he's wondering, right? The purists say, no, there's enough 4-down ball in the world. Well, if the NFL decided to sprout up CFL Canada, doesn't mean it has to be 4-down football, just because the NFL does. McDonald's goes into Singapore and China, and they put different items on the menu, right? Yeah. They could come into here and say, look, what do the people of Canada want? They want their 3-down game. Maybe they acquire a way to hand out the Grey Cup and do the 3-down game under the umbrella of NFL Canada. Big companies do that all over the world. You adapt to the market you're in.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Rod seems to suggest a partnership with the NFL is the only option for a league that has stood on its own for a century. Jeff, what's your idea? I'll wait, as the league is at death's door right now. Come on, now's not time to be poking crap at me for suggesting something. That's the problem. You want to have these discussions, and then people get all butthurt about it. Jason in Red Deer says, I'd rather see public ownership than corporate ownership. Hey, who are the strongest franchises right now? Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, and Edmonton financially. I'm not saying that's wrong. But again, the league is in its worst time ever. So there's no point to fight here, okay, guys? We're trying to find solutions instead of poking crap at each other as to why it won't work. And Dominic, for a few days, has been writing in saying the Continental Football League can tie it all together. CFL, Grey Cup tradition continued too. Dominic, I'd like to hear more about that, the Continental Football League. But there's no reason to say that it won't be the Canadian Football League 2.0. That doesn't need to change. Even if it's NFL Canada, you're going to have to give up some concessions, but all of a sudden you actually are global. All of a sudden you don't have to worry about burning up your air miles, flying all over, holding little camps here and there, because you're global, because you're partnered with the NFL.
Exactly.
Next hour, Justin Dunk, Luchez Purifoy, Craig Smith, and Lee Genier. It's going to be busy. Hang on. We'll be back. It's a Football Friday. Told you it would be a Donnybrook on Facebook Live Game Plus TV network, and listen live at rodpeterson.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpeterson.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.